seeing yourself through the eyes of others. You cannot be an effective leader until you know yourself.
I wanted to enter the civilian workforce with the Army because I wanted to continue to serve my country, and I wanted a job that was close to home and that I could take with me as my husband's career continued.
My desire to be an Army civilian simply stemmed from wanting to work in the federal service. As a prior Army enlisted service member, being able to go into the federal service and work with the military in this capacity was a great opportunity, and I moved from multiple states away just to take this job.
Because of my experience in the Army, it was something I loved being part of. I like to be part of something bigger than myself and feel like part of a team, and the Army is kind of the ultimate team.
When I was growing up, I wanted to be in the Army. My stepdad was in the reserves, and so I always got, an air of what the Army was all about.
My dad is serving the Air Force, and so I've kind of always had an appreciation for what the Army does and what the Air Force and the Marines and the Navy all do. My older brother was in the Navy as well, so there's kind of always been that family atmosphere of the military, and so I always wanted to be able to help if I could.
When it came time for me to hang up my uniform, I wasn't ready to give up that occupation altogether. I felt like I still had a lot to contribute, and definitely, given the way the world was changing, I thought it was a pretty important mission. And so when the organization where I am now offered me the position, I jumped at it. I was pretty excited about it.
One of the main reasons that I pursued becoming an Army civilian was in part due to my 23 years of active duty in the military. I wanted to continue to serve not only the soldiers, but an institution which I, hold truly near to me and to my heart, that I know that makes a difference.
The biggest thing for me when it came to becoming an Army civilian was the ability to continue working for the Army itself. I did 4 years of active duty and wanted to continue to serve, and the opportunity came around, so I applied for the job and immediately became an Army civilian. It's continued service.
I wanted to stay as close to the Army as I could, so that's why I started to look into getting a position with the Department of the Army, stay close to the Army.
So I married into a military family. My husband is former military, my father-in-law and brother-in-law are both retired military. And so I didn't really have much exposure to military life, but when I married into the family, I did, and started to understand that there's an importance for what Army civilians do.
And that's really the basic reason. It's just kind of been in my blood a little bit. So any chance I got to help that and forward that service on, I took. So it was kind of a no-brainer to take a job with the Army.
When I came here to Fort Leavenworth in 1995, I learned about Army civilians, and I thought that it would be amazing to be able to work beside soldiers, work with them and be able to do something bigger than me, even though I wasn't in uniform.
I attended the basic course because it was an opportunity that I wanted to take advantage of. My chief is a big supporter of lifelong learning, so she's always encouraging us to do that. And knowledge is power. I wanted to learn, and it's kind of like going to college and going back for your master's degree to go further in your career field.
My desire to attend the basic course simply stemmed from my own personal development goals and where I wanted to be in my career. And I saw this as a great opportunity to do that and progress. Also, I wanted to focus on my strengths and weaknesses that I was aware of, but I kind of ignored from time to time, and wanting to figure out how I can better myself and my skill set, and then develop myself a little bit better as a leader to serve the Army better.
I attend all the courses that I can. I aggressively seek opportunities to further my education.
I'm always looking for ways to improve myself and develop myself, so the CES courses that the Army Management Staff College offers, I found pretty attractive.
So I took the basic course mostly because my supervisor highly encouraged me to take it. And it was maybe an unwritten policy that if you wanted to take any other sort of training within the Army or outside of the Army, you had to pass this basic course or take the basic course first as kind of a, hey, foot in the door, hey, I'm engaged, I want to continue this Army career.
So attending the courses, why I decided to go to the basic and then the intermediate and then the advanced, I felt because I didn't have that Army training, education, that military background before coming in as a DA civilian, I thought this was my opportunity to be able to learn more, also be a part of the civilian profession, you know, and meet other civilians. And so I thought that it was a great opportunity, and they turned out to be pretty wonderful.
The leadership courses and skills that I gained from the military, in a way, also prepared me and encouraged me to want to partake in any leadership course that any organization is offering, not only to better myself as a possible leader in the future, but to be able to give back to the organization. And when I was offered the opportunity to attend the intermediate course, I immediately embraced it.
Once I took that basic course, I was like, man, I really like to see what else is out there. And so between the 2 or 3 years that the course has kind of evolved, they brought the intermediate course to Fort Leavenworth, and it made it a really easy choice for me to take that class since I've already was at Fort Leavenworth. And again, I knew what kind of leaders they had here, what kind of facilitators they had for the class, and so I knew that taking 3 weeks away from my main job wasn't going to be a waste.
So what have the courses provided to me? Essentially, I didn't understand what a leader was when I first came into as a DA civilian, and it has helped me to understand that everybody can be a leader, no matter what level you are. You do not have to be a leader at the top. You can be leading from the bottom and rallying people together for a cause.
So the basic course really set a good foundation for me to think, man, if I want to be a leader in the Army, this is kind of the core set of values that they expect out of me, and these are the core set of characteristics that an Army leader has.
With the advanced course itself, we were thinking strategically. We were forced to critically think about, instead of thinking about the now, is to look strategically down the road about how we want our Army to look, how we want our Army to fight, how we want to be able to structure our Army to be able to meet the needs as we see emerging threats.
It shined a light on some shortfalls that I knew that I had, but it really reinforced that I should focus on these areas to be a more effective leader and a better teammate.
When we learned the military decision-making process and learning how to problem solve, that was really beneficial. I was going through a time in my career where I wanted to make a change, but I didn't necessarily know how to present that information to my leadership.
The opportunities come up to where we have to brief our chief or the commander or other people that we work with, and so we're outside of our normal job setting, or we're tasked to small work groups, and it's definitely helped me be more confident and successful in that, for sure.
Overall, it was a really good experience to help me recognize these are my weaknesses and this is what I can do to better myself in the future.
I was not good at conflict management when I first came into the intermediate course. And what that course did was it put you in a group of people who you are going to have conflict with. It may not be anything huge or big yelling matches or anything like that, but there are going to be conflicts that arise within that group. And I think they facilitate that well. Like, I think the leaders say, this is going to happen to you, so be prepared for it. My personality tends to say, let's just let it go, not a big deal. I don't want to cause any waves. The course kind of forces you to tackle those waves. In a good way.
I thought I knew leadership after almost 2 decades on active duty in the Marine Corps. But what I learned in the Army Management Staff College's advanced course in many ways sort of eclipsed what I thought I had learned over almost 2 decades in the Marine Corps.